Another word formation process that we'll be looking at is compounding. We are talking about the use of more than one word. The use of more than one word as a single unit. We are talking about compounding. For example, pen drive. Pen is a word on its own. Drive is another word on its own. But we have compounded them, brought them together as another word. So we are forming another word by combining two words together. What about earthworm? So you see, we have earth, we have worm. Another will mention sunlight, where we have sun and light. Two different words brought together as one. So if you are a Christian, you realize that Exodus 3, when Moses fled from Egypt, he found himself in Midian. So Exodus 3 recorded the fact that now Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian. So Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian. Our interest is not about Moses or Jethro or Midian or whatever. Our interest is the Bible using father-in-law. So we have father, which is a word on its own, and noun for that matter. We also have the preposition, which is another word on its own. Then we have law, which is another word. So the use of more than one word as a single unit. Father-in-law, mother-in-law. This is what we mean by compounding. Alright, so let's look at more examples of compounding, looking at their singularity and plurality. So singular. Then plural. We will mention man of war. Now the point is that in forming the plural nouns of singular nouns, when it has to do with compounding, one should be mindful of the principal noun. Ask yourself, man of war, which of them is the principal noun? The principal noun is not war, it's man. Of war is a prepositional phrase, but the noun itself is man. So a structure like this in grammar, we say this is the head word and this is PM2, where PM2 is post-modifying the man. PM2 is an adjective that is coming after the man. So this is, if you like, an adjectival phrase coming after the man, post-modifying man. So man of war. The plural for man of war becomes what? Men of war. Because the principal noun is man. What about the father-in-law? Some people ask the question that in compounding, do we have to hyphenate all of them? No. Some are hyphenated, others are not. Of course, the rule is that we should have some hyphenated, while others are not. So man of war, for example, will not have hyphen, while father-in-law always take the hyphen. Ask yourself, what is the plural for father-in-law? Is it fathers-in-law or father-in-laws? I remember a question in, I think, Wasi. They will give you this thing and you'll be seated. They will say fathers-in-law, father-in-laws, fathers-in-laws, father-in-law. You'll be discombobulated, you'll be flamosed, you'll be mystified. But refuse to be confused, because the traditional noun here, or if you like the principal noun, is father. So it becomes fathers-in-law. Not fathers-in-laws or father-in-laws. It is fathers-in-law. If it is mother-in-law to mothers-in-law, son-in-law, sons-in-law, daughters-in-law. That is about compounding. We can also think of bypassing, which is passers-by. Passerby. Yet to be more people could know a share for camera or also a star, watch a movie. Passerby. So more also one. It is passers-by. So passerby, passers-by. What about head of state? So we have heads of states. Because heads, we are talking about the presidents of countries, states. And if it's plural, then we cannot say heads of state. Because if heads of state, then it means that there are many presidents in a particular country. But if you are referring to different presidents from different countries or states, then heads of states. We can also think of Major General. Where we have Major Generals. Because the noun is the generals, major is the adjective. What about hanger on? Will it be hangers on or hanger-ons? Of course, preposition should not be pluralized. It's rather a noun, so hangers on. Bylaw becomes bylaws. Commander-in-chief one of the functions of the executive, or if you like the president, has to do with him being the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So if it is more, then it becomes commanders-in-chief. So that is about compounding, their singularity and plurality. Compounding, singular, plural. Look at this, commander-in-chief. 3 words, 3 different words, 3 separate words written as one, referring to one. We are on our C's. We said word formation processes have to do with A, B, B, C, 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 C. We looked at compounding. Now we will shift our attention to coinage. Another interesting area. Coinage. Some words we use in English language are coined. In fact, they are socially acceptable as words. So, words like slave queen. Only heaven knows the meaning of slave queen. That some people refer to themselves as slave queen. So these ladies think that they are beautiful, and they want the whole world to know who they are and what they possess. So on social media, they put their pictures. They upload several of them to the wonder of people, to the wonder of men. Slave queen. It's not, if like traditionally, it's not a word. It's not an English word for that matter. But today it is socially acceptable that when they say slave queen, oh, these ladies are slave queen. Oh, so you understand. The word is coined. What about doomsday? Others even say Suarez. What this guy did to us, 2010 World Cup still rings a bell in our ears. In fact, it reminds us of a sorrow. So some people believe that don't be the Suarez in my life means that don't be an impediment to my progress or success. Where Dumso has to do with the power fluctuations. Kakrana power outage, Kakrana power outage, Kakrana. So people believe that Dumso is socially acceptable as a word. Then Suarez too as an impediment, as an obstacle in one's way to success. So all these words are coined. And there is this very one that is connected to Africa. And we call that Banana Republic. So if someone classifies a country or calls a country, refers to a country as a banana republic, then the person means that that country is a politically unstable country that depends solely on exports. Ghana could be a quintessential example. Could you remember when Vladimir Putin the Russian president made comments about Africa? According to this man, when an African becomes rich, his bank accounts are in Switzerland. He travels to France for medical attention. He invests in Germany. He buys from Dubai. He consumes Chinese. No wonder they inundated Chinese products in Africa, Ghana to be precise. Then he prays in Rome or Mecca. He also continued to say that, Vladimir Putin, he continued to say that Africans pray in Rome or Mecca, and also their children study in Europe. He also believes that at the end of it all, they travel to Europe, USA, Canada for tourism. In the end, this same African, when he dies, he's brought to Africa for interment. In fact, he's buried in Africa. So he encapsulated his speech about Africa with a rhetorical question. He says that Africa is just a cemetery, and how could a cemetery be developed? According to this man, Africa is banana republic. We believe in exports. We believe in doing things outside. Then Shatta Wale will also tell you that Ghana is a village. Well, I think that message, that speech from Shatta Wale is paradoxical. It's paradox in that on the surface it looks nonsensical for a Ghanaian to say things like this about Ghana. You will feel that what is Shatta Wale trying to tell Ghanaians? Ghana is a village and not here. That's what many people will say on the surface. But when you think about it again, if you contemplate, somebody will tell you that sometimes when I sit down to reminisce about the things we do, God give it. So you realize that when you think about it, it's making sense. Because paradox doesn't make sense on the surface, but a deep thought about it, a second thought, you realize the wisdom, the truth in the statement. So Shatta referring Ghana as a village, politically he may be trying to say that after all the tour outside Ghana, maybe Europe, even Tanzania, John Magufuli is also a young. But look at what he's doing, the development in Tanzania. This man went to the hospital, and when he saw that patients were sleeping on the floor, he dismissed the management. When there was a shipwreck recently in Tanzania, he got the man arrested. The captain of the ship, that others have died and you are. And the number of developmental projects in Tanzania, Africa, they are developing. What about us? We are lagging behind. The verb is lag, and the progressive is lagging. You don't say we are lagging behind. That's wrong. It's lagging behind. Just a development is standstill. So, if Ghana or any other country that is underdeveloped or developing is described as a banana republic, then we are talking about A country that is politically unstable and depends on exports. That is about Banana Republic. So Shatta maybe it may mean that looking at how others are developing, and again at the it is a young baby, we are where we are. So sometimes let us try to understand the intention of people. Let's try to understand what they are trying to say before we judge them. In law, we call something a fallacy of hasty conclusion, a fallacy of hasty generalization. You may think that the guy is insulting Ghana. Ghana is a village, but he might be using some wisdom we might not even know, we might ignore. Alright, so that is just by the way. Banana Republic is what? Coinage. We've coined the word. We can also think of MTN, mobile money. Today your friend will tell you that I'll mobile you. Your friend will tell you that I'll mobile you. Well, mobile means what? I'll send you mobile money. I'll send you mobile money. So mobile here is used as a verb. Oh boy, don't worry, I'll mobile you. So mobile here is coined. All right. Another example is workaholic. Someone who is addicted to working. You'll be working from dawn to dusk. Such a person is workaholic. He's coined. What about I read? Someone can look into your face and say, Wafa, you there, you are I read. We are I read. What is he trying to say? I read means what? So I read is now socially acceptable in the English language. Of course, in how do you call it? The informal speech. When you say someone is I read, we are talking about the fact that a person is jealous or envious of something you have. I read. I don't want to go into football, but if I have to, Sadio Mane, a very good footballer. Sadio Mane gets the ball and won't pass it to the friends, especially Mohamed Salah. He won't give it to him. So some Liverpool fans will tell you that Sadio Mane is I read. Whether it's true or not, that is what they say. They are the fans of Liverpool. And they say that Sadio Mane is I read. He is doing well this season. Our point is that the word I read is a coined word. So that is about I read. 2017-2018 season, you realize that Sadio Mane gets chances that he could have easily passed the ball to Mohamed Salah, but he wouldn't. But this season, I think he's changed. 2018-19, he's changed and he's doing very well. Right, that is about that. We can also think of a word such as metrosexual. The meaning of this word is a bit strange. We have some men who can spend 20 minutes just dressing, checking the appearance. He wants to look, fascinating. He wants to look Twitter-baiting in the eyes of our opposite sex. So, he's a metrosexual. He's interested in his appearance. He's ensuring that when he comes out, oh wow, this guy is the Saint-Louis of the party. Just say, all eyes on him. So, metrosexual has to do with a man who is interested in his appearance. That is a common word. Even today, someone will say, I will WhatsApp you. Just like another will say, I will homo you. I will WhatsApp you. So the WhatsApp here has become a verb. Where WhatsApp means, I will send you a message. So you see, all these words are coined, and we call them coinage. They are part of the English language, and we have coined them. Now we have another funny one, goat. I do not want to join the interminable arguments about Ronaldo and Messi, who is better than the other. But some will tell you, some football fanatics will tell you that Ronaldo is a goat. Others will also tell you that Messi is a goat. Now, when you hear the word goat, you wonder. That is, if you don't understand goat, you will feel that they are insulting them. So the use of goat here is lexically ambiguous. It means this, which we all know, and the other one. The other one, which some of us may be unaware, has to do with greatest of all time. So when someone says that Ronaldo is a GOAT or Messi is a GOAT, the meaning is greatest of all time. He is the greatest footballer of all time. Messi is the greatest footballer of all time. Ronaldo is the greatest footballer of all time. Others says it's Maradona and Pele and go. But our interest is the greatest of all time. So you saying or someone saying that Ronaldo or Messi is a GOAT means the word GOAT, which you don't know what it is as an animal, this time it is used to refer to someone who is the best player or the greatest player of all time. So GOAT is coined. Another would say GOAT is, if you like, acronym because of GOAT, GOAT, acronym. But we can also see it as coinage. Let us now quickly move to clipping. Words that are clipped, which is another word formation process. Clipping. In casual speech, in informal speech or writing, many people clip words. Some of us, when we were in school, senior high school, we couldn't spell the word dormitory. And because we have difficulty in spelling dormitory, we only say dorm. We've clipped the word. When you shorten a word and pronounce it in a way that looks like the word, clipping takes place. So instead of writing dormitory, why the hassle? We don't have the luxury of time. Some people don't have the luxury of time to write this whole thing. So, dorm. And these ladies we have today are very smart. A lady who cannot spell brazier who only write bra. Bra. What about professor who becomes prof? Professor. Examination becomes exams or exam without the S, any of them. Even your sister, you say my sis, my bro. Advertisement becomes adverts. All these are words we are using in English language today. What are we doing? We are clipping them. Just like I have this paper in hand, if it had been more than one paper, then what I do is that I'll clip it so as to keep it compatible and portable. So just as we clip things like papers, dresses and others, we also clip words, putting them into their shortest form, which will not change meaning from the original word. We can also think of photography. And you know, the British say photography, and the Americans say picture. So you tell your friend, what's up? Hello dear, can you send me your pic? So that pic there stands for picture. We've clipped it. Photography becomes photo. Bicycle becomes bike. So you see that we've clipped all these words we have on the board. We even have aircon, air conditioner, air conditioner. We've shortened it into aircon. Laboratory becomes lab. All these are clipped words. And if you go to KNUST, it will fascinate you to realize that apart from Queen's Hall and Africa Hall, the rest of the halls, the rest of the 6 halls they have there are clipped. So Conti, which is Continental Hall, becomes Conti. Katanga becomes Cat. So someone will say that I'm a cat, I'm a Katangi. Another will say I'm a Continental, I'm from Conti. When you go to Independence Hall, they say in this hall in Kenya University. So Independence becomes in this. Republic Hall becomes Repop. Akoko Repop. So you see that Republic is being made Repop. All these are clipped. And they are part of the English language. So if you are a student in Kenya University or an alumnus or alumni or whatever, when we say Kunti, everyone knows that it's talking about that hall. When you say cat, when you say Indis, they know what we are talking about. And even the names we have, some names are clipped. A lady who is called Benedicta, who say her name is Bene, will be a friend Anita, or also see a friend Anne. Emanuela, see or Ella. So I met this lady and I asked of her name. She said, "Oh, my name is Selina, but I don't care if you call me Silly." And I said, "Okay, you are silly and fat." So you see that Silly becomes silly. Then Maxwell becomes Max. Clipping. And it is interesting that the name Ella in Spanish, Ella is equal to she. So when you say Ella in Spanish, it is she. When you go to Portuguese, the she becomes Ella, one L. When you go to Germany or German, she is equal to sie. Then in Russia or the Russian language, the she becomes lei. What about French? French, she in French is ile. Then we can think of Italy. In Italy, she is, Russian is oha, and Italy is lei. So you see that Ella, those Emmanuelas in the country who says they are Ella, the confusion they've created. Ella in Spanish means she, and the Portuguese version of she is Ella, one L. When you go to German, it's sie. When you go to Russian, it's oha. When you come to French, it is ile. Then Italy has it as lei. So you see the confusion that Ella has created. Now, that is about clipping. Today, social media, especially WhatsApp, someone can just write or type, "I miss you." Do the do that we know has been clipped into THO. Someone who is going to sleep will beat the friends goodbye on her status or his status and say that "Good night, fam." Maybe he's talking about the group, the friends, the participants in the group page. So "Good night, fam." So fam here is what? Family. They've clipped it into what? Fam. Of course, it may not be socially acceptable, but now that we are using it, it's gaining grounds, and very soon it could be socially acceptable, as though being clipped to this and family being clipped to that. So once again, the words we use in English language, some of them are clipped, and a few examples are what we looked at. "I miss you though," "Good night, fam." These are all clippings, and we expect that they are supposed to be used in casual speech, in informal speech, but not when you meet people in a formal meeting, like an interview, and then you are using such words. It's unacceptable. We use them in casual speech. All right.
Dream so deep, there's a secret he must hide, for he keeps the beat of feet.